What's up, guys? I wanted to give you a little bit of a breakdown of pronation mechanics of the foot and what exactly we are looking for when we're doing drills around pronation. It's a very simple drill a lot of the times, but people kind of ignore it and don't put a lot of effort or thought into how they're doing it to actually get the most out of it. And I want to make sure that you understand what we're going for, so that when you do these drills, you know what we're supposed to be feeling or what we're supposed to be aiming for, and how that can play a big impact in what you're feeling farther up the chain. So this is your heel bone. This is everything in front of your heel bone, the rest of the foot. If I give you an example, give you this foot, heel bone, and then right here at the back of my arch, that's the rest of this foot right here, right? So we have a foot here. If I have a little bit of an arch, this is kind of what it looks like. What's happening now is as I'm walking, as I put weight onto my heel and I start to shift this weight onto this foot as I walk or as I squat or as I do whatever, what will happen is this heel bone will start to plantar flex, mean drip or dip forward towards the ground, and then also tip inwards. So it's going to evert and plantar flex. So what's going to happen is that's going to make the back of the arch start to drop down. At the same time, the rest of your foot, the midfoot, is made up of about 30 to 40 joints through here. So there's a lot of joints that have to move. As this drops down, this needs to drop in like this. So we'll see a flattening of the foot. If you watch from the back, same idea. If I have a little bit of an arch, heel starts here. As I hit the ground, you kind of hit the outside of your heel first. As I put weight through this foot in order to contact the most surface area possible, this heel will dip in and forward to make room for this foot to fall down. What happens there is then this bone right here, this bony spot on the front of your foot and the top of your arch, that allows that to get out of the way, so our shin can actually drift forward over top of our foot, right? If this stuff doesn't happen, that bone doesn't drop down, that means this shin can't move forward, that means our knee can't bend very well, that means our hip has to do more, that might lead up into the back. See what I mean? So it's a little bit of a chain reaction all the way up. So it is an important motion that we need to be able to access, especially for you people that have achy knees, achy feet, achy ankles and stuff like that. A lot of times what I'll find with people in that scenario is that you spend a lot of your time stuck in this position. You're always on the outside of your foot. You're always on your pinky toe. Anytime we're doing single leg stuff like lunging, split squats, single leg RDLs, any stuff like that, you find yourself constantly wobbling your foot back and forth to try to find balance. That is your foot's inability to pronate and flatten into the ground. I want to get that thing flattened into the ground so you can get as much surface area contact into the ground as possible. That lets us transfer the force all the way up the leg. So it goes, lets the ankle fall in, lets the shin rotate in and move forward. That transfers the load up to the knee and into the hip. If you get this motion right, what you'll notice is that you'll feel a lot of quad and glute activation if you can actually start to access this. The big thing about this motion is that we have no muscles that do this. All of the muscles that connect to our foot and our ankle do the exact opposite. They actually create the arch of the foot. So every muscle in our lower leg and in our foot create an arch. So in order for you to actually get pronation to happen, you need to relax. You have to let your body weight and gravity do the work. I see a lot of people that do this, and what they end up doing is they drive their knee way too far forward and they end up over top their toes, and they're gonna feel just their calf working. They're gonna feel their foot tighten up. They're gonna feel their Achilles stretching and stuff. You're going way too far forward. You need to move slower and focus on keeping this heel the heaviest point, and just let this foot relax and let it just sink into the ground. And what you'll feel is this spot right at the back of the arch fall into the ground. I'm gonna give you a real demonstration here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my foot up on this box. This box is pretty dang high, but I'll see what I can do. So you can see, like I said, here's my heel bone, here's the rest of that foot, so this is the rest of that wedge here. What I'm looking for is for my heel to stay heavy so that this stuff can fall straight towards the ground. So as I push my knee over my toe, you'll see my arch falls towards the ground a little bit. As I come back, it comes back out. If I go too far forward, what will happen is I automatically start to create an arch again. Now I just feel my calf working. Again, that means you're passing the point of where we need to go and you're getting a little bit too aggressive. From the front, similar idea. A lot of times people will be going too far into this and it'll look something like this, and they're driving their foot way far forward and their knee way in. That is not what we're going for, because as I do that, you can see my foot is tipping and I'm losing contact with the outside of my foot. That is no longer pronation. Now I'm just rotating my foot. So you need to start with the foot nice and flat. I should feel my entire foot on the ground. Heavy in the heel, especially that little bit of inner half of the heel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly push my knee over top my toe and let it go wherever it wants to go. I'm not trying to push my knee in. That is just where it wants to go as I kind of push my knee forward. Notice how my foot still stays flat as I do that. I don't lose my pinky toe on the ground. And I'm getting a nice little stretch through my arch, in the back of my arch, right in front of my heel. That is the area that I want you to feel squish into the ground as we do drills like this. But you need to slow down to make sure you're paying attention to where the pressure is and where you're feeling it. This is not a drill you can just move around and bust your way through and move really fast, because you will defeat the purpose of doing it. Again, it's not a physically demanding drill, but it is one that you need to make a conscious effort to do correctly so you can get the most out of it. Once you learn how to find and access that position of pronation, then we can start to build it into some other things. Can you find it while we get into something like a lateral lunge? Are you able to get into that same sensation as we're doing a split squat? So we're actually able to use that pronation now. Can I land from a jump on a single leg and find that position of full pronation, like flattened into the floor, without just tipping my foot all the way in? This will carry over into a lot of things. This is a position we need to better able access internal rotation up the chain at the knee and the hip. If you can't get it at some of those joints, you're going to find somewhere else to get it. So a lot of people that are stuck on that outside of their foot can't pronate and stuff like that. What happens is all of a sudden their knee is always out, so they get that outer knee pain, or that gets a little achy there. Or it just bypasses that stuff and starts to recruit your hip more, so your hip starts to get pinchy. You feel an outer glute, or the hip flexor is always working really hard. Or it bypasses that and goes to your back. You feel your back wanting to extend all the time. Your back's getting sore whenever you do stuff that produces a lot of force. It makes you move fast. Again, these are all the same motion. They happen all together. If it's missing from one area, other areas have to take over. So if we can get it to the foot and make sure the foot can actually access that position and that motion, it'll make it easier for the joints above to access that motion as well. So there is a chain reaction here that we need to get into. Okay, so that is the breakdown of pronation. That is why we're doing drills like that. And that is why I need you to focus really closely on how you're doing it to make sure you're doing it correctly.